Hello everyone, and welcome to another video. It's Rage back with more Star Citizen, and today I'm going to be looking at the RSI Constellation Andromeda, which is, I feel I can call it the backbone of Star Citizen's multi-crew for right now, because it is the perfect multi-crew ship. It is the perfect multi-crew hull and the perfect multi-crew ship. Now, some people don't like how it looks, some people don't like certain things about it, but as somebody who wants to play multi-crew and do stuff like that and just play the game like a captain of a big ship, and even if you don't have very much money, you can get into a Constellation for very little. And they just do their job incredibly well. And it doesn't matter what Constellation variant you get, it just does its job very well. So first thing I'm going to get into is the cockpit is following every RSI ship that I have seen to date. They all have this very strutted cockpit, a lot of metal, a lot of glass, a lot of glass that is actually, in the lore, that glass is stronger than the metal that is holding it together. So just think about that. The glass is holding the metal together. But that's what they've said. I don't know how they're gonna prove that or disprove that, but that's a cool fun fact. So as I get to here, you get to the first turret, and this is, I don't know. I have a lot of issue with this turret on the bottom. A lot of issue with it, and I'll go more in depth into that later once I get into the turret. But the point of this turret is, well, it's a turret, and down here, you see these little wings? These wings here, or not wings, but these doors here, if somebody's not in the turret, once the animations are finished, these will close and allow the turret to sink into the ship and be protected. The same thing goes with the turret on the top of the ship that I'm not as against. So as well as being, in my opinion, again, one of the perfect multi-crew ships for anybody, just the Constellations in general, they're also one of the most polished ships in the game. So if you look up here, it says Mark IV, because this is the 4th time they have redone the Constellation to make it look better and to make it work better. So it's got VTOL thrusters there, or not just VTOL thrusters, but those are the maneuvering thrusters, and they work really cool because they swivel back and forth, and they kind of angle, and then you've got actual rotors in those little places there. So what we're seeing now is we're seeing it in a mode where it would have been landed, and once the animations work, according to one of the videos that you can probably find on the Constellation Buyer's Guide page, these actually slide back during flight, which is cool. And also, just as a heads up to anybody who wants to buy one of these as their ship, this one is the Andromeda, which is 225. It is the military variant. They are all getting reworked, so look at this one and just think about, I guess, think about whether or not you want the Constellation, how it looks compared to this one. And I'll explain what's different in each of them and what makes them different. So, as you get into the airlock of the Constellation and you move forward to the cockpit, you get to the, well, I can't even call it a cockpit, I could call this a bridge. So you get to the pilot seat in the front, which the pilot has great visibility. This is one of my favorite ships for visibility when it comes to big ships, because if you're flying a Freelancer or a Starfarer or a Caterpillar, it's just, I don't know, there's just not a lot of good visibility, and that's, I don't know, that's just something that turns a lot of pilots away from ships, is that their visibility is bad. Like, how fun would it be to fly a cardboard box with a little slit in the front? Like, that's a little bit of an exaggeration for the other ships, but this ship, it's just built beautifully, and RSI has done a really good job of Constellation series. So as you move back from the cockpit, or the pilot seat and co-pilot seats, you get to this that looks a little weird. But this is where the turrets are. So if I go and try and sit in the bottom turret here, I'll show you exactly why I don't like this turret. So comparatively to other turrets in the game, this one's really, really odd because it hasn't flipped you upside down. It doesn't flip you upside down, where you have no upward view, but that's kind of where you want to be looking. Like, you can look down and around, but it gives you just this tiny, tiny viewing angle where as somebody personally, I'm that guy. It's like calling shotgun in a car. Call top turret, because nobody wants to have to deal with the tiny, tiny viewing angle of the top turret. So I think that's the only downfall, personally, that I feel in the constellations. And the sad part is that there's only one constellation that doesn't have that bottom turret, which is the Constellation Taurus, which only has the top turret. Now, if you go back here, you get all the avionics, all the shield gen. Oh, and another thing is, you see all these orange lines? These are all different colors corresponding to what model of constellation is there. So, back in the living module of the constellation, this ship has really been built well as a ship to live out of, as a multi-crew ship, because you have all your lockers. Like, if I just point at lockers, hit open, you can open all these lockers, and you can accommodate like 5 people on one of these with full lockers. And there's only 4 beds because, as expected, the captain would go down with his ship, as well as there's always going to be somebody on deck awake. So the theory behind buying a constellation is, if you want to do everything and want to do it well, you have the living area that looks nice. It's got a table. I don't know about the food preparation. There's not very much in the way of that, but the ship's not meant to be out for like ever and ever. It's going to be one that needs to be taken back to base and back to a spaceport, because not every ship can be fully self-sustaining. But the Constellation Andromeda sure as hell tries, and I'm guaranteeing that we know we have this module here, but I'm guaranteeing once we see the Constellation Aquila, we will get a feel for a little bit more of an exploration-based ship. It'll have more living space. Like, maybe they'll cut a bit of this table down to add some food preparation, or maybe like the lockers will get cut away or something here, just so that it's more livable. So as you move back here, the Andromeda is different than all of the other Constellation series because of these missile racks that are on the top of the ship. So the advantage to these is these are self-loading racks of, well, I can't count those missiles, but a bunch of missiles. And the Constellation series, they all feel a little bit shorter than the Taurus, because the Taurus has a double long cargo bay, so that you can store more cargo in it. It is the ugly duckling of the Constellation series. It's not very effective. It doesn't have all the weapons or all the tech, but it is a good mini hauler, and it comes in at 150 instead of coming in at the 225 of the Andromeda and the 275 of the Aquila. And then there's the one that hits every other ship out of the ballpark, that is 350, that is the Constellation Phoenix. But we haven't gotten our hands on it yet either. So as I move back, this part here on the Constellation Taurus, is basically that part that's back there. All of the systems and stuff would be right here, and right there would have been the back of the ship. So this hangar bay, or not hangar bay, this cargo bay would go back to about here, and then all the rest of the stuff would go out, all the systems would be out here. And something that the Taurus doesn't have, the reason it's got more cargo space, is because it doesn't have one of these. It doesn't have a Krieg Merlin, whereas the Andromeda, the Phoenix, and the Andromeda, Phoenix, and Aquila all have Krieg Merlins. I believe the Phoenix has the Archimedes, which is the big brother to the Merlin, which is just a little bit more expensive. So if I go back here into the cargo, so this cargo bay on the Andromeda is used obviously for cargo. It's good for cargo. It's not as much as on the Taurus. The Taurus will carry much more. And the Aquila will carry less cargo, but for a specific reason. The Aquila will carry a rover here. So normally you would carry the Aquila with the rover and not take cargo space. But if you decide you need cargo space, you can just remove the rover. So this is one of the few ships that has a bit of issue with the ladder, due to, I believe, just them not patching the ladder incorrectly, due to the fact that they're trying to make all the ships that had used ladder buttons, they're making them so they don't have used ladder buttons anymore. So it's not button activated, it's just you walk up to the ladder and you climb up the ladder. Here we go, I was able to get climbing up the ladder. If I go back out here, and go back to the airlock, and go down the airlock. And that's nice because it is an airlock so that the ship does not depressurize. Some ships are good about that, some ships aren't. And then this is where the cargo bay is on the ship. It's right there. And it just lowers out. And you get the Merlin, or in this case, what you're seeing is the Archimedes that's strapped underneath there. You get that. Oh, and the Retaliator's trying to take up some space. But yeah, you get the 4 big engines in the back. 4 strong big engines in the back. And all the engines in the back are meant to propel the ship pretty fast. And the 2 top ones will angle themselves as you're flying. So like if you fly right, they'll angle themselves to go in more of a right path, vice versa with left. And you come down here and you've got the M6A laser cannons, the Bearing M6As, which do a substantial amount of damage, in all honesty. And if I just show you here, these spots, these little bumps here that are on the top and bottom of the ship, they all are meant for the escape pods once they launch, and the beds are escape pods in the ship. And I believe it also is one of the ships that is doomed to have a shower toilet. It's going to be, I think, a running joke is, let's see what ship has a shower toilet and what ship doesn't. And I think you guys will notice as I show off more ships that it's hard to find a ship that doesn't have a shower toilet. So if I go here and I close the cargo bay, you guys will be able to see that it just sinks back up into the ship. Really nice. Really clean. So I think that's about it for the Constellation Andromeda. This ship again is $225. The Taurus will be $150. The Aquila is $275, and the Phoenix is a limited ship at $350. The other thing that's nice is that all the constellations except for the Phoenix are on sale 100% of the time. So if you're ever looking to get into a constellation, it's incredibly easy. Just go buy one and you can mess around with it. Currently, we don't have anything other than the Andromeda, so you will be given a loaner ship that is the Andromeda for the Aquila and the Taurus and the Phoenix. But the Aquila will be launched in 3.0, which is, I'm hoping, just around the corner. But seeing as 2.6 has been delayed for so long, I don't know what to expect of 3.0. But my griping aside about Star Citizen schedule, this is a really nice ship, and I would suggest picking one up if you want to do a multi-crew ship, if you want to have a multi-crew experience, and definitely if you feel like you want a cheap multi-crew experience, pick up the Taurus. If you feel like you want a bit of an all-around multi-crew experience, pick up the Andromeda, and the Aquila is an incredibly effective explorer. So I hope you guys had a good time watching this video, and I guess I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.